Jerk?
Oh, this isn't good.
Uh-oh.
We're off to a bad start.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where's
this isn't the
Geark?
way things... Yeah, no, I'm really worried. Okay, whatever. Let's see what happens. It's the... What day is it? It's the 8th of July, 2021. I'm Commander Jantrax, and this is the Loose Screws podcast. Hopefully, this is the loosest and screwiest episode we might have ever done. Let's see how it goes down, I guess. Joining me today is Commander Chig. He's back. Hello.
I'm so confused. You always go in alphabetical order. I thought you'd announce our guest first.
I
but it's
don't
going
go
good.
in alphabetical order. I go in order of Discord, but
Which is alphabetical order.
Yeah, which is also still, yeah. You still skip somebody.
it's not... I intention... Okay. Good God. Hi, Chig. Anyway, Dubs is here
Hi.
too. Hi, Dubs.
Hi.
Hate. Hello. How you doing? Oh,
Oh man, Mulligan.
Okay. Lieutenant Commander Data is also here. Hi.
Hello.
Commander Nurgle.
Greetings and salutations.
And special guest APOC 5. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's it going?
See, it's because he's special. He's not like a regular. So anyway, I don't know why that was so surprising and shocking to you all.
Only to Chig.
Unfair. He's just
I always
got
get
something to
introduced
say.
first every week because I'm first in the alphabet among show regulars. So I assume he'd
Okay.
just go down the list because, like, Ty does it that way because, well, he's slow sometimes, so he needs to go in
Him
order
and the
or he'll
alphabet,
forget
not
somebody.
great
Yeah,
friends.
he
Yeah.
needs to go down the list. I forgot Trax being a mental giant like he is and, knows how to get refunds in games. That guy doesn't need to go
Oh,
in
wow.
perfect alphabetical order.
And yet I do.
And
So-
yeah, you do.
Explain that. Hmm?
I always assumed it was order of importance, but let's just move on.
Okay, so here's what I've got planned for this episode, assuming that I don't get completely derailed, which I welcome in this particular case. This week, headlines are, there was a small patch for Odyssey missions. The Elite Events calendar was teased and shown off a little bit. Harassment of the CMs and Devs, and a lot of state of the game videos and posts seem to be emerging. That's what's going on in my world. What's been up with Chig for the last 2 weeks? How long have you been gone, man?
Oh, I skipped the last 2 weeks. This would be 3 weeks since I was on the show, I guess.
All right.
If you do math and stuff, which we know we all suck at. I don't know. I've been not playing a lot of Elite Dangerous. I've played a lot of other games. I actually followed FDev's lead as they pushed me towards other games, and I've been playing some Star Citizen, and I've been playing some Battlefield, and I started playing some Left 4 Dead with my daughter and Dubs and Data, and we've been doing just a lot of other games. And like Dubs started playing not 7 Days to Die. He's always played that. He started playing
Left 4
Star
Dead.
Citizen. I think he got it
Oh.
48 hours ago, and he's got 57 hours into it. So I don't know how
Jeez.
that works.
Time
Once
travel.
again, we're bad at math. But yeah, I had my annual tubing trip, so it wasn't like I was gone just because I was pouting about Elite disappointing me. Not Elite, FDev disappointing me. I actually went on my annual tubing trip, and had fun doing that. And
Right, that was planned.
yeah, I sold 2 copies of Elite Dangerous during that trip, so you're welcome, FDev, because talking about the podcast and what I've been doing in the last year since I talked to them, and they jumped on board. One guy, he got home and he joined the Discord actually while we were tubing. Loxley, I met him actually like, I don't know, 14 years ago playing World of Warcraft, and became a real life friend. He lives, I don't know, like 4 hours from me. I see him once a year. He comes to the annual tubing trip, and now he's taking up Elite Dangerous, and he messaged me. He goes, well, the game was cheap, but this flight gear is ridiculous. I'm like, play it for a while before spending any money on flight gear. Grab a loose Xbox controller or something and give it a go. But yeah, I got a couple people that actually bought copies of the game and now we're playing it. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah,
You did this.
that's what I've been doing. I know I should have been
I
like,
don't know if telling someone to play it with an Xbox controller is giving the game its best attempt. That's
so
maybe
you're
not
saying-
good advice. Yeah, like playing with an Xbox controller would almost make me not want to play it because just
you realize that there's Xbox players that listen to this show, right?
I'm sorry guys, but your controller is inferior.
and I'm finally giving a real go at the dual stick, and holy fuck,
Yes.
I love it, absolutely love it. So there's that side of it. I'm actually back into CQC. I played. Well, everybody knows I'm unemployed at the moment, so I'm just in the middle of the day just playing CQC, whatever. That's been a lot of fun doing the dual stick and having fun with that. And I think that we're going to talk about later on an event next week we're going to do. So, yeah, there's that. Now I've taken up my allotment of time to talk about what's been happening in my life. Move forward.
What are you playing? CQC in Horizons or Odyssey?
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. So
Say it.
I'll just be mad at FDev again. I've been playing it in both because I can't find a game in Horizons. I log out, log back into Odyssey, and I might get a match. The problem is now instead of a match of 5, 6, 7, 8 people, you get a match of 2, 3, 4 people, which is it's still fun. But really, especially I'm noticing on Odyssey side, it's a lot of newer players a lot of times. So it's just, cubbing baby seals and stuff. So then let's
Fresh
go back
meat
over
for
to
the grinder.
Horizons. If I get a match, it's still less people than it was before. And like after 8 o'clock Central Time, I haven't found a match in either CQC at all. And I used to, knock out half a dozen, 10 matches, between 8 and 10 p.m. Central Time before bed. And without a problem. Right now, it's so hard to find a match. You don't know if you're going to find it in Horizons or Odyssey. The main group of like elite CQCers, you have your Glamis, your Blastard who plays in a full 6 degrees of motion hydraulic rig in VR. He's on still. Second most
Awesome.
kills. He's got like 70,000 kills in CQC. But Blastard, Glamis, 6-App, I hate to forget naming people. Beers plays a lot. There's a lot of guys who have, either are elite rank or right in that tight group. Obi-Wan, those guys. They're all in English time. So they always are playing team deathmatch during the day. And now that I'm not working right now, it's fun to hop in and be able to play team deathmatch with all those guys, the actual cream of the crop players. So that's been fun. But then again, I'm overcoming muscle memory, learning how to do the dual stick thing. Like I try to, thrust down and I thrust up because for some reason it feels natural to turn it that way rather than that way. And I'm like, I should just change it in the keybinds. But it's like, well, then I'm just going to fuck myself because I should just learn it. And I babble on. But it's been fun. There's still that crowd, but like it used to be during the day with those matches with the elite players, you'd have 5, 6 of the, at least, 6, 7, 8 prestige players. And then you'd have a handful of players below that mix. Today, it was mostly 3-on-3, 3-on-4 matches, and everybody was 8-time prestiged. It was just, it's just the regulars, one random dude will hop in the match and I feel bad for, that kind of person hopping into that kind of meat grinder in team deathmatch. But it is what it is. They just split the community again, one more degree of separation, and that's my favorite part of the game is just combat flying around. So yeah, once again, I said I was gonna be as salt free as possible tonight. You trapped me. All right, move on. Odyssey.
Whatever. Tell the truth.
Horizons.
It's not. You're having fun with CQ. You're playing CQC. It was just a question about where those matches are. Anyway, Dubs, what you been doing?
Well, Chig kind of already told on me a little bit, but I've been playing a lot of other games. But I also have been playing Elite Dangerous. Don't let them make you think I hate the game. Yeah, but Star Citizen isn't bad, but it makes me appreciate Elite Dangerous whenever you encounter the sheer number of bugs. I mean, it's expected that it's going to have bugs. They say it's got bugs. But when you experience the bugs and you go back to Elite, it's really not that bad.
Just
So it
one quick
reset
note.
your threshold for where bugs are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ringing
once you have become acclimatized to the bugginess of Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous doesn't look bad.
But keep in mind, Star Citizen, every single time you log in, you need to acknowledge that this game is full of bugs. They put up a
Yes.
disclaimer and let you know, hey, please acknowledge that you're going to have a shit show of a time in this game. So there is that.
But just like Elite, it's still fun despite the bugs. But
Well, I
yeah,
like that.
between that, 7 Days to Die, Left 4 Dead, and Battlefield, it's been a busy week of gaming. Yeah, I haven't been at work. Been on a little bit of a vacation, so.
Right on. Yeah, I saw you guys in the middle of the day. I was like, Dub, what's up with Dubs? Doesn't he work?
Nah, I just fucking quit. I ain't going to work no more. But yeah, no, I've just been playing video games.
A lot. Oh my God.
A lot. I have done some work for our BGS. I've actually done a lot more work in the last week for our BGS than I have in a long time.
And it
Farming
shows.
the absolute shit out of bounties in Ross 310.
That's because I twisted your arm.
I went and did some freedom fighting for our newly independent faction brothers, splitting off from the increasingly evil Federation, and helped our bros over at the Helsina Knights a little bit too with their BGS efforts.
You have been busy.
I gotta take more vacations like you, Dubs. I'm always busier than usual when I
What
take
helped
vacations.
me
Yeah.
is my little week-long vacation started the same time my wife and kids were in Arkansas. So not only was I not going to work, but I also wasn't being obligated to do family things. It was just me
That's
and the
how I
dog.
done.
Oh,
You and
perfection.
dogs.
Just me and the dogs and the computer. And
You've cracked the code.
life was good. I will tell you. Send the wife away. Take a little vacation. But I'm gonna stop before she hears me.
Yeah.
She did come home last night, so.
All right. Hey, it sounds like you're back.
I am
What's up, man? What you been up to?
twisting Dub's arms to do more BGS.
Yeah. Morgan, keep doing it.
Hold on, but it gets more. And then responding to people thinking about streaming and telling them they should do BGS while they stream. Yeah, some of that
I
done this
asked.
week.
That's entertaining?
Hey,
I'm kidding.
we shot a whole bunch of stuff.
I did so much murder.
Started a new job. I would say I've had
good.
worse jobs, but my worst jobs were the job that I just started again.
Oh,
And I hope my corporate overlord hears and fires me.
Oh, God.
You don't have to wait for them to
Okay.
fire you. You can quit. You know that, right?
But then I wouldn't
Not
get
it-
unemployment.
It's not illegal. Oh, that's true.
You shouldn't announce
Damn.
your goal is to collect unemployment on
yeah. Scamming
Public.
unemployment,
Yeah.
also illegal.
It's not scamming unemployment if they still fire him. I mean,
No,
Well, if it's with cause, never
I've
mind.
seen my current employer just keep people on so that they don't have to pay him unemployment because
despite they keep you.
staffing them is cheaper than firing them, even if they're causing nearly the same pay rate and damages per hour.
What a system where it's cheaper to keep somebody as an employee.
Sadly, he's not wrong.
Golly. All right.
America.
America, exactly. Data, what's been up with you, friend?
He's been
Oh.
bullying me into buying Star Citizen. That's what happened.
Okay.
I'm glad I'm
into-
not being blamed.
I'm big into peer pressuring
Well,
others.
Chig peer pressured Data, and then Data threatened me with physical violence. And that's
Yeah.
how we all ended up with Star Citizen.
Huh. None of that's ringing a bell.
In other news, I've been having-
nothing. Data fell out of my ship while I was flying it.
Should we mention Dubs hit his ejection button in the hangar in Star Citizen first time he was in his ship?
I died.
Oh man.
Don't hit your ejecto seat when you're still in the
it
closed
works.
hangar,
It
kids.
actually works. Yeah.
It kills the shit out of you. And then your ship will spawn. Like you go back down and you recall your ship and it just shows up without a seat and you're just like, well, shit. Go make an insurance claim.
Pretty much. All right, carry on, Data.
Yeah. On to Data.
Permission to speak, sir. I took a little page out of Ty's book, hearing him talking about how he went on a little trip out in the black last week. I went a couple thousand light years out and landed on a couple planets, got some first footfalls, scanned some plants, and got bored of that pretty quick once I got out there. So I think I came back home like Saturday. Did a bunch of BGS, running some missions on foot and in ship. I'm not good enough. You know, when I'm in a ship, I can just kind of go down the list and accept missions without paying too much attention to them. But on foot, there's some missions that I can't do. I'm not good enough at yet to do, so can't do quite as many influence points on foot as I can in a ship. So I kind of combine them both.
Get good, scrub.
The game is broken. It's not my fault. I'm never responsible.
America.
Wow.
But yeah. Been doing good. Been playing a little Star Citizen, messing around with that some. Had some fun with Left 4 Dead too. Yeah.
Cool. Nurgle, how about you, man?
Well, it's so far this week I have reinstalled Elite twice in an attempt to try to stop my crashing problem. With limited success. I think I've gone from crashing 5 times an hour to crashing twice an hour. And this is the silly season for me at work, so I really haven't had more than a few hours to play. Got to do a little bit of tag teaming with the streaming murder missions the other night before I crashed out of that, which led to my second reinstall of the week. But not a lot going on really.
Still no joy.
Like I said, I'm down to crashing maybe twice an hour now. The last time I reinstalled, I optimized the hard drive, installed Elite, and then went and deleted all of the config files just for safety reasons, and then had Elite boot up and recreate those config files from default.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that actually accomplished anything or not, but like I said, I'm down to only crashing about twice an hour. And again, it only happens in Elite. I can happily run any other piece of software for hours on end without fail.
And that's Horizons.
That is Horizons, yes. I'm still...
Yeah.
I know I have said for a while that I wasn't going to touch Odyssey until they either made significant changes or until July 1st came around. Well, I can't even run stable in Horizons. So I'm not really feeling the Odyssey move at this point.
Yeah.
I still think your RGB of your RAM has a lot to do with it.
Well, I don't have RGB RAM, so
There's your problem.
There's your problem.
Damn.
Easy
My
You know how
God.
much smoother this game runs with RGB RAM?
Guys,
just
I've got
cracked it.
RGB
Not that much
nothing,
better.
and my Horizons does not crash.
You're the exception, all right?
Come on.
Okay.
Well, he's
Every
a
pixel in your
3080.
headset is RGB.
Oh my God.
oh,
I don't have to respond to that, right?
no, you
I
don't.
could just kick him
No.
out.
No.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
what I
Just
thought.
kick him from the
Time out.
server. It's fine.
What's that flushing noise I hear?
Yeah.
Is that the sound of the band hammer?
That needs to go on the stream deck. Flushing noise.
Okay. APOC 5
Hello.
is how I've learned. Now, I definitely said APOC V because you know how you don't don't say people's whole names necessarily until you started a podcast where you said your own name uninvited, and then it was like, oh, it's APOC 5. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it have been?
You didn't know he was Roman?
So you've been a member of the community for quite a while, and posted a few weeks ago a little podcast that you'd created, a bit of news roundup, and I think you're doing an outstanding job, and we wanted to, I don't know, you seem like good people. I mean, am I wrong? Let's have this guy on the show, kind of thing. So what's up forever with you? Tell the people.
Goodness.
Who are you? What do you do? Is this an okay question to ask you right now?
Yeah, well, let's
Should I have
just
done a
leave
better
on a high
job?
note, and I'll just leave the stream right now. We can end on that high note, and I won't disappoint anybody. No, yeah, started finally scratched that 30 that itch that every 30-something-year-old gets, and started a podcast. Let's see, been playing Elite for about 2 years as an addiction now, I think. Before that, it was kind of off and on consoles, and then at some point I picked it up on the PC and just fell in love with it. So there's that. Really don't know what else that way this week in Elite. Yeah, really didn't have a bio prepared. I need to do that sort of exercise in writing your own obituary at some point, I guess. But But
well,
yeah,
I can help. You've got. I know that you share a lot of photos in like hardware. We've talked about like our sim pits, if you will, and I know you've got some pretty elaborate stuff going on in there. And I know you play VR sometimes, and we've had a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah. I've been doing like sim racing for quite a while now, so I had a sim rig for that, and when I really started getting hard into Elite, it was like, oh, let's add a HOTAS to this, and then got into Flight Simulator and some other like military flight games, and just started playing around with that. All these things that when I was a kid, I dreamed of, like, oh,
Yes.
one day these kind of games are going to be so great. Back when I was playing like B-17 on 3.5-inch floppy disk on my old Hewlett Packard computer, and playing that. It's like, oh, one day this is going to be, well, at the time it was amazing, but then you get older and it's like, oh, one day these flight sims are going to be something, and I'm going to have this awesome rig and everything. And then it hit me one day, oh my God, I can kind of do that now. I have the means and the ability to finally, fulfill all those little childhood fantasies. And so, yeah, I've just been really going hard into the whole sim aspect of it. And earlier today, I was looking at Soviet era MiG control panels on eBay. Like, oh, I could buy one of these and pop an Arduino in it and turn it into a button box for Elite.
I'm always curious when somebody becomes, you've just woven yourself right into the fabric of the Loose Screws community. You came aboard. How did you find us, and how did you end up sticking around? I'm amazed that you lasted through the whole intro we had where we rambled entirely. I thought we were going to get back to you, and it's like, APOC, you there, buddy? But you're still here. So that might have answered my own question, but how did you find us, and why did you stick around?
I think it was just one day looking for more content. And, one thing about a community or a game like Elite is there's always a great community around it. And the community itself is really what keeps the games going through. Like right now, we're having, a really rough patch. And so last year, whenever, just, looking, I was like, hey, I wonder what Elite podcasts are out there. And just, signed up, subscribed to them all, and started listening at during the work week at work. And I was like, all these British guys and everything. That's cool. There's a guy with a Southern accent. Oh my God, he's from Texas. I'm in Georgia, by the way. So Yeah, and that definitely moved you guys up to the top of the list to have that American podcast there.
Tribalism.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I'm a bit of an Anglophile, so I watch a lot of BBC and stuff. So I love listening to those guys too. But yeah. So after hearing the podcast, I was like, I need to join up in that Discord and see what's going on there. They seem like a good bunch, and turns out pretty good group of guys.
Nice.
Oh, all right. That seems fine. Appreciate that. Oh, God.
That's an acceptable answer.
Absolutely.
I actually just used the convenient search function on Discord, and we're very, very close to your 1 year anniversary being in the Discord.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Happy
11
almost
days
cake day.
Yeah, 21 days as of recording. Until
being locked in during a pandemic will make you do questionable decisions, but that one turned out to be all right.
I keep forgetting that happened so long ago.
Yeah.
Anytime I think about the start of the pandemic, I'm like, yeah, it's a couple months ago,
hold
right?
on.
Nope.
Please remember, there's still large parts of the world that are still locked down. Or
There's still
we're
large
still
part
in
of
this
the
thing.
country.
Oof.
Yeah.
15 days to lower the curve. All right, let's move on. Enough pandemic talk.
Yeah.
Is there anybody I haven't done yet? I just got interdicted by somebody who wants my illicit cargo.
You said you didn't do combat during the show.
I took some missions that required me to bootleg. Okay, I just finished them off. All right, I'm out of here before I get scanned.
And I do want to add, because I forgot to say this, but last Thursday, so the night of the last show, Chig, get ready with your old man jokes.
Oh boy.
Last Thursday was my KMA day. I am officially eligible for retirement on a number of years served.
You did the joke for me. It's all good.
Thanks. I just wanted to make sure you were set. You keyed up.
Now, if you just learn how to fly your spaceship, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, well, it hasn't happened yet. What makes you think it's going to start now?
But now, APOC, did you plug your show? You've been posting it on YouTube too, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've done the.
No, just the podcast and all the usual places. Elite Comms Check. Easiest way to find it is either on Twitter or on Anchor, and they'll give you the link to all of the various places. But just pretty much any podcast app you're using, type in Elite Comms Check, and it should pop up right there.
And roughly, it's just another nice quick synopsis of what's happening with your own twist on it, which is appreciated because there's so much content produced for Elite Dangerous. Well, sounds like that might be reducing, but there's so much content produced for Elite Dangerous that it's nice to have these compact things like, Galnet and the Burr Pit thing and, all that stuff. So,
yeah, I wanted to keep it short, ideally about 5 minutes or so every episode. Just, when I started, we were kind of in that, period where all the updates were coming out right after the expansion. And so there was kind of a glut of information, twice a week, once on the Super Cruise News stream, and then again when the update notes came out. And it was, quite a lot for anybody to keep up with. And I just wanted to be able to condense that down for people that, don't have, time to listen to all the podcasts. They have their one or two favorites that they listen to once a week, but do want to stay current with, well, what was that CG going on this week? What was, the latest, developer news, if there is any.
Yeah, you pull out the good nuggets is what you do.
Right. And just put it out there so real quick you can get the highlights and then go on to your other favorite podcasts when they come out during the week.
And I think there is definitely a space in the Elite podcast universe for the Elite version of headline news.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, us included, who will ramble on for hours. There's definitely a space.
I'll tell you when where the idea struck me or how it struck me. But you cannot tell Kai this because he will take credit for it. No, it was during one of his podcasts that he had on several other streams, on Elite Week. And he had several other content creators on. And these, people that are pretty invested in what's going on, and
The
even
heavy
they,
hitters. Yep.
yeah, the heavy hitters, they pretty much make a living or a substantial part of their income off of playing the game and creating content, and even they didn't have enough time for whatever was going on that week to know what was going on. And they said that it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that happened. I don't have I didn't watch the streams. I didn't have time. I didn't lurk on the forums all week or anything like that. And I was like, if they can't keep up with it, the average player definitely can't. So that's
You're
where
right.
the nugget of the idea came from. But don't tell Guy that. And but now he's good.
He's listening. He has heard it. And
shit.
on that, no, Kai, like, he started. Elite Week was a part of this show initially, and it was a great concept, and it started just getting long because of the fact that there is so much content.
There's so much.
He was trying to fit it all into a segment of the show that then ended up having to become its own show because there's just so much content. So the brief little snippets help so much with that, dividing that up rather than trying to cram it all into one, tiny, compact nugget. So the more blurbs like that, like headline news, like Nurgle said, God, you're fucking old. That just, people need that. And attention spans just aren't what they were, years ago. We need stuff. Just give me the good stuff and we'll figure it out from there. So I really appreciate what you're doing with that. So
well, thank you. And I joke because I do know he's listening, and I do appreciate the shout out he gave on the show last week also. So
there's
I'm
a good chance I
about
might be popping up on his show tomorrow night.
Sweet.
So
there we go.
yes.
Okay, and I've just fought off the second interdiction. All right, I guess that's just me then. Anyway, thanks APOC for coming on the show, and stick around for the rest of the discussion, obviously, because I want to know what you think. I care what you think because I think your opinions matter. And okay, so what I've been doing for the past week, I didn't miss a week. No, I was there last week. Okay, it's fine. I actually have been playing a lot of Elite lately. It's funny because when Odyssey first came out and I was like kind of bummed and miffed about the state of it right away, I kind of was like, I need a break from this. It's not working the way I want it to. I'm disappointed. And I went and played other things for a while. And then mid-June, when everything really, really went away for me, and I decided to pursue a refund for Odyssey and got that one way or the other. Then I started playing more. I went back to Horizons, which works great and it's the same game that we love. And I went back to Horizons. So then I was like feeling pretty good. It was like, hey guys, it's all still here. There's actually not that much to be upset about. And like, who knows, maybe someday Odyssey will be good. And then you can go back to it. But for now, we can just play the thing we've always loved. And I was feeling really good. We did a few streams like Dubs and Data, each and both. And Nurgle joined me for some things. We hunted feds for the CG on Independence Day, and we put up just stupid numbers of bounties for the faction on another night. And it was glorious and fun. It all runs in VR perfectly. It's amazing. It's like as though the game was made to work that way. And then, I don't know. But today I find myself really kind of bummed out about it all. Just because of kind of the series of kind of events that are happening. And they even though I'm not an Odyssey owner now, I don't know. It's just disheartening that this is what's going on with the thing that I love. So I don't know. I'm roller coastering pretty hard, you guys. So anyway, now I'm in Horizons. I'm running missions for the faction while we do the show and trying to stay positive because there's nothing else. You guys talk about Star Citizen. That's a no-go. I'm not going to switch to a buggier game that also doesn't play in VR. And I don't know. So I guess what is
play Star Citizen in VR?
Come on,
Give
me a break.
Just saying.
It doesn't even claim to support VR.
No, it doesn't. But you can see a lot of videos of people playing it in VR. It's functional.
I'm sure.
But no, it's barely. I'm not. God, I don't want to promote Star Citizen, but me and Dubs have both said this as we've been. Both of us in the last week, we discovered the game. Fuck it, started playing the game. And obviously bugs. There's definitely bugs. Not as many as were advertised, about people, and a lot of that is just the reputation they gained over the last few years. But the biggest thing that I took away, and I think Dubs has taken away, and he's said it multiple times, is if we could just have Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen have a baby. What does Ty say? If they could just kiss and make a baby, because that's how he thinks babies are made. If they could just kiss, have a baby, and we could get Star Dangerous or Elite Citizen, I would be fucking ecstatic, because the first person side and just the depth and honestly, running through your starship getting old, I'm calling bullshit right now. It's fucking badass. You're in space, you open your back hatch and you look out into space from the back of your ship is pretty goddamn phenomenal.
Spacewalking, jumping out of your ship and flying around your ship,
dude.
Bruh.
Yeah,
if they just put the first person aspect of this game into Elite,
I'm definitely in love with that. If they could somehow combine them, it'll never happen. But the vision of Elite, when you hear David Braben talk about Elite Dangerous back during Kickstarter days, it really is kind of what Star Citizen is doing right now, and it's depressing that they're not combined. You're running around these giant cities in Star Citizen. You're having to take trams to get from one side of the city to the other to get around, and it's like you're in this giant thing. And I'm like, God, what if I was riding in one of those little carts that go around the starport, and just I don't know.
Well, that's analogous to Super Cruise, right? It's like, okay. We should. There's actually a point in the notes where I was going to talk about kind of exactly your point there, but
okay, I didn't mean to cut in.
The thing that I'm meaning now is really like there isn't a replacement for this game, because you could say like Star Citizen might be the closest thing, but it doesn't have a proper VR implementation, and that's pretty much what I said. That's the one pinch point. Yeah, I mean that's the thing for me. Like I would still own Odyssey if it wasn't for VR.
We'll go play No Man's Sky.
In spite of everything else. Well, okay, there's No Man's Sky. I don't see No Man's Sky has the correct VR implementation and almost nothing else.
So do we need a menage a trois?
The one thing that No Man's Sky has, other than the proper VR, that I think FDev could. Well, I wish they would lean more towards with their planet generation, is the little bit of secret sauce they have with the way they do the procedural generation of the landscapes and the flora in the game, all the different plants and stuff. Where maybe 1 out of every 100 or so planets you end up going to has an actual biome, something like you end up seeing in No Man's Sky. Not in the cartoony Fisher-Price version that you get there, but in the, Elite, art style and everything.
But doesn't FDev already kind of have that base work with Jurassic, Planet, Dinosaur World, whatever it is, and Planet Zoo? They've got
Zoo, yep.
Procedural generation for not entire worlds, but big sections of worlds and plants and animals, and that's where I'm confused why it's so hard for them.
So maybe Elite and Planet Zoo need to have a baby?
Well, I mean, specifically to that, obviously they're totally different teams working on totally different games. Just because they're the same engine doesn't mean they're remotely compatible. Every game in the world made on Unity is not just combinable.
Yeah, but they're not being put together under the same roof. I don't.
Yeah.
This is a game that put together a 400 billion star system that we can travel to trillions of planets and do stuff. To me, that has always blown my fucking mind that we can go travel the entire Milky Way galaxy. But then they put together a first-person shooter aspect and a planet generation that it looks like what we have. You know what I'm saying?
And just to add on to that, what is the explored percentage of the galaxy in Elite? Isn't it like
0.5%? Yeah.
Not even. I think it's like 1/100% or something
It
crazy.
is. It's like
It's minute.
It's less than half of 1%.
Yeah, it's like
still
1/10 of 1/2 of 1% after 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling. So,
Vast.
vast. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let's jump on to squad update. Here we go.
Do it.
Incoming priority message.
Squadron briefing.
All right. Not many things going on right now, but some important things going on. So we have kicked off into expansion. Kind of not where we wanted from. While we were busy trying to get either Ross or Kama into expansion, we weren't paying attention, and V740 Cassiopeia went into expansion. That's about 8 days from its window at the moment, and unless something significant changes between now and then, we are definitely going to the system Ruchbah. It is the only open slot within V740's expansion cube, so not a lot. We can't influence where we're going, so that's kind of set in stone. As of this evening, we are pending war in V640 Cassiopeia. I know those names are confusing when you hear them close to each other. This is for system control in V640, and it's worth mentioning that the last time we fought and won system control in V640, that was the Odyssey bug that deprived us of everything except the victories. So we didn't get system control, we didn't get an asset.
No assets.
Yeah, so here we're doing it all over again, and that will be a war. We are close, probably a day away from matching the controlling faction in Unktomi. That will be an election for system control. We've kind of the Leon Rui power play people have asked us, since we have a favorable government and we're already in their control bubble, to please move into 6 Andromeda and take over there. I think it's a Confederacy faction that has that system right now, so it's non-favorable to their bubble. And we have told them that, as soon as we clear our current expansion, we'll be happy to do that to help you. And then in
Good
kind
to
of
have friends.
Yes, I mean, we're corporate. We fit, good with Leon Rui's power play. We overlap part of their bubble. It's kind of the smart thing to be on good terms with them. And then in other faction news, at the very beginning of this week, we briefly eclipsed 6 billion total population within the faction. That has since fallen off as some systems have changed influence level since then. But that was our first time over 6 billion. We are currently at 5.89 billion population, which, for those of you who look at Zoe's Galactic Almanac, which is kind of all things factions in Elite, that makes us the 99th most populous faction in the galaxy. So we are in the Galactic top 100.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay.
Nice.
So that's where we stand.
Nice. Thanks for the update. Next on my list is the Galnet recap. Does anybody been paying attention to Galnet and wants to talk to me about Galnet, please? Thank you.
I will just say that a week ago when this started, I believe we actually talked about this, that there wasn't any way in hell that the Federation players are going to allow a bunch of
Right.
factions to break away, and they won 4-0.
Yeah.
It
Not
wrecked
only
Fed
did they break
boys.
away, they took
Yeah.
the other factions with them.
Yeah. So I think I guess it was last Friday, almost a week ago. So the day after it started, I did a stream, decided to go out there. Well, that's right, because it was Independence Day. I went out there and celebrated Independence Day in the United States by helping a Federation faction declare independence from the Federation, and went in there and opened, hoping to meet some resistance. We saw several players in Horizons who were not with us, but only one of them was hostile. And do you remember the name, Dubs?
It was something Prophet, and he was a member of the CQC
Yeah,
squadron.
right. He was in the
And
CQC,
he was in a
was listed as a squadron.
He was a pretty beefy anaconda. That thing
Yeah, he
took
put up a hell of
whooping.
a fight against. I think I had my Corvette, and then there were two others with us. It
Chieftain.
should have been a pretty tough fight, and he put up a hell of a fight before bugging out. So congratulations to Prophet. I think there was something more to the name, but it's Prophet.
There was
something in the
more to
CQC
it than
squadron.
just.
Yeah. So that CG is over, and they won tier 4 to tier 0. So that's about as much of a win as you can get according to the rules of this particular CG. Is that right?
A whooping.
Tiers went up to 8, and I was kind of hoping we would just completely dust them, but
Yeah.
It was enough to meet all of the rewards for as far as like,
did
go.
all
Right.
of the factions secede?
Yeah,
Yeah.
as
There
long
was
as-
only 4 on the block, so
Okay.
Right, as long as you got past 3, because as long as they didn't lose, as a Ladshu was going to
Right.
maintain its independence, and then it brought up to 3 extra along with them for each tier. So
yeah.
And on the individual leaderboard, didn't one commander have over 1 billion bonds turned in? Do I remember that right?
Yes.
There were some people that need some serious help that participated in that CG. Let me look. I don't know. Looks like
It
there's a
went
new
up
CG
to-
already.
I'm really guessing that they probably were off of work and their wives were out of town.
almost
that'll do it.
1.5.
Just them and the
1.5
dogs.
billion. All right, Mr. Top Commander, you need to go see someone. Get some assistance. Get some help.
Go outside.
Do something.
Yeah, and the new community goal that is up is literally to help the Kumo crew produce drugs.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
And I'm
Sounds
not
great.
sure how the game keeps its PG rating when it's turning its players into drug manufacturers. But
Well,
As long as you
are
can't
there
stun people before killing them, you're fine.
and anything special in the rewards for that?
I've now told you all I know about it.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my mouse to behave so I can look at it.
I did not look any of this up before.
I didn't even know there was a new CG, honestly.
I didn't either. I haven't paid attention today.
There's a bounty voucher reward if you choose. You can either deliver the drug manufacturing materials or the farming materials they need, or you can do combat bounties to protect the
Combat
system.
protect.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Yeah, it just says handsomely rewarded.
Yeah.
Okay. So
if
the
you-
money
Probably
is-
monetary. Yeah.
if you do the deliveries, each completed tier will ensure effective distribution of resources and equipment to locally supply the medicinal drug.
great.
Yeah, so it's just going to make the drug available for sale.
Yeah, lore reasons. All right. Okay. Well, unless anybody has more to say about Galnet that I didn't pay attention to. Oh, for God's sake, I'm being attacked at a nav beacon now. Who are you? All right, fine. I have to blow this guy up. Stupid anaconda. Okay. I'm going to talk while blowing up an anaconda, apparently.
Yay!
Dev news. On Tuesday, the Super Cruise news ran. I was a little surprised because I thought they told us that news was going to be slow and they were going to do every other week. But here they were showing up with a stream. So, okay, whatever. So Super Cruise news happens. They released a small patch. There really wasn't much to talk about. The patch has some missions fixes for Odyssey, some things that were still going wrong. It was, I guess, basically this qualifies as a hot fix. And then they, well, I guess there's one noted here, rebalancing faction influence effects once again.
Right. And it's important that it says from repeatedly winning and losing various scenarios at installations and megaships. So that is not Odyssey related.
Yeah.
Something that probably 90% of the elite community does not know is that all of those non-landable installations and megaships that are out in systems all have the opportunity to spawn various scenarios, and it's usually you either pick the attacking side, like it works like a STZ. You pick a side, and you're either on the attacking side or the defending side. And some of those require various states in the system to spawn, some don't. It's kind of confusing and not honestly well researched. But if you hang around one, there's a chance a scenario will spawn. When you win one of those scenarios, you get a bump in influence, and of course, you're getting bounties in that system for whichever side you're on. So if you're attacking, you're getting bounties for whichever faction is attacking. And if you're defending, you're getting bounties for whoever owns the installation. That is a hyper efficient way to either explode or tank a faction that owns one of those installations.
Okay.
Because they will sit there, especially if there's a conflict going on in the system that tends to make these scenarios spawn more often. And they will sit there and chain back to back to back to back to back. And you can get millions in bounties. You can get combat bonds if it's a combat state in the system. And on top of that, there are influence changes to the various parties. And that honestly has needed to be tweaked for a while because it's far too easy to grossly manipulate a system with that. Now, that, of course, I said that just came out Tuesday. Scenarios were not something that were well researched to begin with in the BGS community, so we don't know what the net effect of that is going to be. But I think you're going to see far less crazy, wonky stuff going on in some systems because of that, if they've balanced it properly.
Right. So it's interesting that they're saying, this is specifically from chaining them. It seems like the smart fix would have to do with the chaining of it and not the effect of running it once, which
correct.
Would be fairer to leave that in place, right?
My hope would be that they basically put a mandatory delay time between these scenarios respawning, so you can't just sit there and repeatedly, like one never-ending conflict zone. I'm not sure I have that much faith in FDev at the moment, but that's what I hope they did.
Okay. Yeah, I've only ever run those scenarios when there has been a few CGs that were combat CGs, but there weren't any zones. There weren't any conflict zones, but we needed bonds.
Right.
So that's the only time I've ever been involved with those. So it wasn't like factions I was particularly concerned with, just the outcome of the CG. So, all right. Well, that's interesting. Remains to be seen, I guess. So then the other thing that went on was they talked about the calendar that Zach has been working on. Looks nice. I don't know. Comments about the calendar? Anybody?
Nothing groundbreaking, but nice to have an official community calendar on the website.
Right.
Hopefully, big hope that you'll at least one day be able to see that info in game, and it'll direct you to the website to
Right.
whatever else. Yeah.
Yeah, so word on that, I mean, that was directly asked, and the word was basically, no plans for that, but they sincerely want it to happen.
Yeah.
So maybe someday it ends up on the roadmap kind of deal. So that's fine. Okay, so then did anything happen? No, I didn't write anything down for Wednesday. I think that brings us to today. The stream today was this pirating stream that Art teased and apparently got the likes that he wanted to get out of Twitter. What does he post on?
Yeah, I
anyway,
think so.
100 likes on Twitter or something like that. So they did a pirate stream. I didn't watch it. It happened. Actually, I got an alert on my phone like super early this morning.
Yeah, they did it twice today.
Oh,
They did
okay.
two streams.
Okay.
They did a morning stream and then took a break and did another one at the regular time.
Oh, all right. That's fine. I hope it was fun. I hope they got blown up and also blew other people up or something. I don't know. Pirating. I guess you don't want to blow people up for pirating.
Funny thing happened. At one point, they were doing stuff on an installation. I don't know what the pirate. I know in the morning stream that they did, it was like 9 o'clock here. They did like 2 hours, and they had someone else on, and they were doing different. I only saw about 10, 15 minutes of it, and they were doing stuff in space. And at one point, they were doing some like FA off, like training stuff. They had someone teaching them how to do almost like a pit maneuver you see the cops do, where they stop a vehicle or something. I need to go back and see the whole thing. Yeah, so might be some neat things there. But in the afternoon stream, I was on my way home and just had the audio playing, and they were playing an open, and some commanders started to show up, and at one point killed them all. And the funny thing was, Bruce used some God mode magic and actually said on stream, hey, I think Arthur said on stream, hey, it'll be too boring to watch us, all take taxis and group back up at Jameson. Bruce is just going to teleport us all back there together, which still took like 15 minutes. Yeah, which still took like 15 minutes for them to get back in the taxi together to go to the site. But because it came up during, I think Arthur said, hey, Bruce had died and they were still fighting in this installation. And he was like, how'd you get back so quick or whatever? And he's like, oh, I used a little God mode magic. And Arthur was like, oh, you sneaky thing. And so when they all ended up dying, he just set out and open, I'll just whisk us all away back to, yeah. So, but it was just funny that, it was just funny that, it'll be too boring of gameplay to watch. So we're going to take this shortcut.
Watch us play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get what you're saying there.
Playing the game like we're supposed to is too boring for them.
Like us poor regular,
or peasants. The peasants. Yeah.
Yeah. And Arthur was a little bit punchy and with people in the comments.
Upset,
Probably very deservingly. I didn't get to see the chat, so I'm sure they deserved it. And he told more than one person, or just asked rhetorically, why are you watching if you're not having a good time, either watching the stream or playing the game? Why are you here? And go find something else to do.
Yeah, rather than yelling at him about how you're not having fun and don't like Elite.
Yeah,
perfectly
fair. I think that definitely is coming after some of the other stuff I know we're going to talk about later.
We should definitely find a game that we don't like, and we should go harass them at those streams. That's essentially what's happening.
Yeah. Apparently that's the thing to do.
Apparently.
Sign me up.
Oh my God, this FDL is going to pull me too. This is ridiculous. Why did I take all these bootleg liquor missions?
Because drinking is cool.
Yeah, apparently. All right.
Who needs livers?
Liver optional.
Liver optional. Jeez. Okay. All right, so let's get into this. So the next thing that I put down is I noticed these all kind of happened today. Well, for one thing, this post from Arthur about how do I put this, like harassing, like basically I'm not going to tolerate harassing of the CM team and the devs anymore. If you're being impolite and things like this, whatever. I'm not going to read the thing verbatim. Obviously, like this is stuff that we agree with. We have said over and over and over again that none of the devs, the CMs deserve your impolite language, and all the complaints that we have about what's going on with the game, we don't believe has anything at all to do with the CMs, and at most very, very little to do with the devs. And I think this is all boardroom stuff. If you're harassing your community managers, what do you want? Like, to that, yeah, go find something else to do. Hopefully something that doesn't involve any other humans, because you are just trouble. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Okay. So anyway, we don't need to feed those trolls anymore, but they make this post on the forum, and they're right to do so. This has nothing to do with expressing sincere, thought out, founded opinions about the game and its development. It has to do with politeness, being constructive. Things happen to people who are public figures in any sense, and it's usually terrible when there's any kind of negativity involved. It gets terrible. So then we have these YouTube videos, and just to lay this all out, and then we can, I guess, discuss this in the blob form. Obsidian Ant was the first one that I watched. Kind of a bit of state of the game from his perspective, what's been happening, how he feels about it, and I think what he essentially outlines is like a monthly checkup, I think, for him personally. What I found interesting about this is that I know Obsidian Ant and a few others, Down to Earth Astronomy, for example, they don't exclusively play Elite. Right? There's other things that they're dipping themselves into, other games, other hobbies that are part of their YouTube and streaming presence and life. And I think that has caused them to sort of be some of the last to tilt toward the negative. Not that they were shying away from pointing out flaws and things like that, but it's different. Like, to say, like, I really think there's a major problem here and it doesn't seem to be getting better. Those videos have started to come. And Obsidian also cited the video from Hawks Gaming and the video from Drew Wagar, which are harsher. I didn't actually watch Drew's video yet. I was going to, and then we started the podcast. Hawks Gaming, what he lays out in his usual fashion, which is very verbose, is how this is his only game. Like, and he also, I guess, had an injury that provided him with an opportunity at the release of Odyssey to basically be putting in over 12 hours of play a day for a long time. And the specific point that we start to get to, besides the bugs and things like that, like to really cut to the chase, the thing that I came away from the Hawks Gaming video with is this business with the slur campaigns. This is the material that was fixed essentially in the last patch because its spawn rate was next to nil or something like that. So Hawks Gaming, playing so much so early, he was way ahead of everybody. He had all the unlocks done. The only thing he couldn't get was these slur campaigns, and he had seen a couple before it really became an issue, and actually talked to some of the CMs about it, saying, hey, what's the story with this? I've only seen these like twice. Apparently you need these. I didn't even know what was going on with them. And he got kind of a, well, they're definitely in the game, but probably not spawning right. We're looking into it sort of answer. And then time passes and other people start to catch up. And pretty soon there are thousands of people that he's interacting with in his Discord and other places that are all unable to find these things. And the word from FDev is still, oh, they're in the game. Don't worry, we'll make them spawn a little more. But they stick to their guns, and they never admit that they are impossible to find. And what he's saying is these things actually were impossible to find. They were only spawning in this particular situation where you can't actually collect them. You can see them, but you can't collect them, which is, I think, in a conflict zone, right?
Like
Correct.
300 hours in the first week or two of the game.
Yeah.
Releasing and searching for these things.
Like, that's what they're doing. And then not just him, tons of people. And so he feels he can say with complete confidence that they weren't in the game effective. I mean, they couldn't be collected in the game. And yet FDev sticks to their statement of they are, and so this is kind of an example of another failure to communicate.
And they were very coy about it they were very coy about it on the streams too. Anytime they would mention it, they were like, we assure you they're in the game, they're there. But then it was very much a wink and a nod of like, oh, we know they, are very hard and that they're unicorns or whatever to find. But, we assure you that they're there. And it's like, well, if a slur campaign, appears in the woods and no one's around to see it, is it really there?
If they can't be collected,
that's,
what even is that? So, okay. So anyway, that was my major takeaway from that. And I did want to just kind of open it up. Like, this is hard because, you have somebody like Hawks Gaming that is extremely dedicated to like as he points out, like this is his whole thing. And this is it. It's the same way that I think I felt too. It's this loss of trust. It's this betrayal of, I really hate saying promises, stuff like that. Like, cause plans can change. That's fine. The issue is the way they talk about it. It's changing your mind about VR and then essentially denying it without, you like accept it without accepting it. Like, even when I pointed it out directly to them and made them say like, yes, we changed our language on this, but that still means nothing. That's the betrayal. Like, change your mind and admit it and then do the right thing. Slur campaigns, like, this doesn't totally matter. It sucks for him and people like him that have put hundreds and hundreds of hours on this specific thing. But at the end of the day, like, it's just a game, right? And if it had been handled right, then that's what we'd all be thinking, I think, for the most part. But instead, it's like, why are we still being told these? It takes me back to standing up on stream before the release and saying, oh, this alpha you've been playing was a branch. We're way further along.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Like, once again, I'm not looking at you community managers. I do not believe that you're telling me anything other than what you are told. And what else could you possibly tell me? But FDev is fucking you over when they give you lies and they make you stand up and repeat them to us over and over again.
The person on stream, the person that was on stream that, assured us that this was just a 8-week branch, that was Piers Jackson, the game director. That's as top as you get on the game itself, that was saying that on stream with when they had Dr. K. Ross on too to talk about the planetary tech. And he said that you're looking at an 8-week-old branch. There have been all these improvements, all these changes. You're not seeing anything that really looks like the finished game. We just wanted to test these individual systems that were in each week of that alpha period, and that was it. There is no other higher authority other than David Braben himself that could have made that comment, and he did.
That's
And
go on.
It's not the fact that there was a bug or that they changed course or whatever. It's the fact that it's the betrayal that makes everybody angry. because we all accept the fact that there are going to be bugs. We all accept the fact that things they say they want to develop, they may not be able to, or they may change course. That's part of playing a video game. But it's when you deny the bug exists, or you have the game director sit there and say that it's a branch. It's the betrayal that really pisses people off, and that is a 100% avoidable reaction.
Absolutely.
Just be honest with your players. Most of us are adults. We can handle it. The rest are trolls.
Yeah. It's the same way I feel about ship interiors. I'm not mad that ship interiors are not here. I am mad that no one is talking about it as if it's something that they would like to do. That, when we get the time and the resources, we would still love to have that in the game like we used to want to have. The developers and all wanted to have. It's that now it's changed to that's not even part of the vision we have now for the game because we don't think it's a valuable gameplay loop. That's right. What makes me mad about that, aspect. And it goes into that exactly what you were saying before, Nurgle. It's just the disappointing and the letdown and, the just whole changing of the communication we're getting.
It's like they say in politics, it's not the crime, it's the cover up. It's the same thing. It's not the bug, it's the lying about the bug.
Yeah.
And obfuscating that they're changing the scope of their vision. Like they're saying something different about it than that. They're not saying, yeah, we used to want this, but we don't have the resources for it right now. They're trying to convince us that there wouldn't be good gameplay there. When Down to Earth makes a video about ship interiors that is like, well, yeah, exactly. And I've had many discussions with people outlining many of we've talked to him before about the things that could happen with ship interiors. And you talk about Star Citizen and stuff like that. One of the points he lays out specifically about ship interiors that is unassailable, in my opinion, is they're saying, well, that's boring gameplay. You don't want to have to trek across your ship each time.
I absolutely do.
Well, first of all, Dubs absolutely does, and I pretty much do too. But the idea is that there's that time delay is going to interfere with something. This whole game from the start has been based on time delays. Super Cruise is an intentional time delay. Being able to only land at the A star of any system is an intentional time delay. And now in Odyssey, having to walk from the turbo lift to your ship is that time delay. You just don't get to do it inside your ship. And Down to Earth points out that he's changed the way he's playing. He's preferring to fly smaller ships because the walk is smaller. And that's a thing he has to think about. He has to sacrifice internal slots for that. And that's part of the gameplay. That's a give and take that happens in a well-designed game. So it's there. Technically, they're already doing it, but they're in denial about it. And what makes it kind of more perplexing is that, as we've said a bunch of times, adding ship interiors would be adding ARC's sales to their pockets.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so why?
If we accept their argument that walking around a ship interior is boring gameplay, which I don't, but let's for a moment accept their argument.
Right.
Fine. Why does the walk from the ship across the hangar exist?
Exactly. Why don't you just black out and come out the lift?
If walking across the ship is boring gameplay, walking across the hangar is 30 times more boring.
Why don't, when you lock onto a system or a planet to Super Cruise to, doesn't it just black out and put you at the planet? I mean, there's lots of boring stuff, but it's a matter of finding your fun in those gameplay loops, and there's plenty of fun, stupid shit. I mean, we could easily, everybody's come up with their own random ideas of how it could be fun, but Jesus Christ, sitting in the back room of Ty's Corvette, and we're all in Elite Dangerous, and we're sitting around a table, and we're actually playing Dungeons and Dragons, but we're flying through space while we're doing it.
That would be awesome.
You know, it's just, it's a sandbox. You find your own fun. That's just another shovel in the sandbox that we could find gameplay with. I'm just saying.
We could install a boardroom in tracks cutter, right, with a Trax Corvette, and we could all do the show from a table and Trax Corvette.
Yeah, we could be doing that right now. Exactly. Emoting.
I would
emojis
record
at
that
each other.
video to use on YouTube. That would be
Absolutely.
worthwhile
That
to
would be
deal
awesome.
with the 2 gigabytes of data each week. I would do it just for that visual.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I want to role play as Amos from The Expanse in the back of like Trax's ship,
Yeah.
you know, fixing shit and, you know, repelling boarders or, meeting them at the door with a shotgun or something like that.
Right.
There's so much. And one thing that Down to Earth touched on in that I had not even considered was the way it could change the mission gameplay for things like around crash ships. Where if you had a crash anaconda and you had to work your way through the corridors of that crash anaconda, and there are pirates or whatever in different rooms and
The
Optimism.
panel's
Yeah,
cut
so
up
the-
and is great, but like, come on.
The voice of optimism here, though, is in order to have any of that, they had to get legs just working and functioning.
That is true.
Right.
That is true.
So that's my hope. But then again, that's also where I get annoyed because to sell this as, a full functioning expansion rather than just charging people to beta test this stuff. I'd be ecstatic and be playing this game and everything else if it's like, well, this is kind of a live beta. Everything you're doing will transfer into whenever we get this thing figured out. But you can pay now and you can join this new universe doing these new engineers and everything else. But just know it's buggy and we're working it out. But they didn't do that. They sold it as a complete
Finished.
game.
Yeah.
It's left me wondering, is this the expansion that the sole purpose is just to add this one new element to get it working, and then the next expansion is supposed to, build upon that in a more important way? Or is it going to be part of the update cycle of this after we get, past the console? So, we're really looking at a year out, because consoles at the end of this year, maybe, if they're able to keep their own deadlines
Schedule.
with just
Yeah.
minimal with just minimal pushbacks, because I would be really surprised if they don't have to push it back a couple of times.
And the way they handled it, do you have faith, even if they came out and said that, no, our plan is to do this after the tree, the branch and trunk and all that bullshit? I don't believe
have
a word they
that
say
trust
right
is
now.
gone.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to really believe anything at this point either. We are way past believing anything, and it's put up or shut up at this point.
Yeah.
But it just, again, it goes back to, well, what are they thinking in terms of that long-term vision? Because they haven't given any indication that they know. And that is the worrisome aspect of it to me, is, this is a game that you can very easily sink a, boatload of hours into and get sucked into. What is the long-term perspective of this? Where are we going?
I think that, to answer your first question about whether the next expansion is really going to be the big one or whether we're going to see things piecemealed out over updates, I think it's going to be both. We're going to see this. We're going to see Odyssey evolve over a series of updates, and then, of course, whatever the next expansion is, we'll build off of Odyssey as a base. But I think they probably do have something that resembles a plan for Elite past Odyssey and where they want to go. But in typical FDev fashion, they're not sharing that with anybody. We don't talk about things like that.
My fear is this disaster is shortening the life of this game on a whole.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a really valid fear too. Because you look at the player numbers, and they were riding the wave of good publicity and good player numbers they were going up before Odyssey. There was a huge spike at Odyssey, and now it has fallen off a cliff.
Squandered.
I had
And,
no
yeah,
intention of buying
exactly.
Star Citizen.
That is the
None.
story of Odyssey. It is an opportunity squander.
Yep.
And
Let me ask
all
you this.
because they had to rush a release that wasn't ready.
Yep.
And they've lost players they'll never get back.
Who was asking something?
I was going to say, let me ask you
Go ahead.
guys this. What do you think they, I think Arthur and some others have said there are definitely features that are coming that aren't in the game yet. And of course, we assume that means they're coming after console release.
Yes.
This was what was supposed to be part of this
Yeah. or
roadmap,
at
and then what was
console
supposed to be
release.
part of the
Yeah.
dev stream, this sort of stuff.
Right. So what do we think about that as far as do we think they have that ready beyond, do we just think that is ships and, a ship and the SRV that we're supposed to be getting, or is there more? And
Thargoid ground combat.
Thargoid ground
yeah.
It's
the
three
ground
things.
combat. Yeah. Right.
Ships, SRVs, and Thargoid ground combat.
Do you think they have anything to gain at this point by holding off on those reveals until console launch, or go ahead
Yes.
and
No, reveal it.
right?
I say yes.
Not release it, not releasing it, but start to pull the curtain back on.
Yes.
Hey, here are the things.
Yeah,
Or
let
do
me
you-
know what's in the future. I want to know the development plans.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those of us closest, sorry, Trex, I jumped on you there. I'm just saying, those of us who live and breathe this game, I mean, in this lobby of us talking right now, there's probably 20,000 plus hours.
Absolutely.
We are so close to this. We're doing a goddamn podcast once a week. We're living in a Discord. We are so close to this game. And other Discords that do this, Lave Radio, the Burr Pit, Elite Week, all these other Discords, these are people that are deep into this, and we're not a giant proportion of the community. There's a lot of people that play this game casually. So if you start revealing stuff, our communities, we want to hear this, and it will give us something to look forward to and will be excited for. The general community won't even hear a lot of these tidbits or don't even care. They're just playing a damn game. So let us know what's coming so we can report it, and the hardcores are going to hear about it. The rest, it'll still be a surprise to them because they're just not paying fucking attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it strikes me that it would even be considered, the sort of thing that we're talking about. It's not like story points or anything like that. Just features of the game that you would think that they would want to tease, even if the casual community does pick up on it, that it would be a selling point.
Instead, shutting some down entirely, like ship interiors and
I think
crossplay.
I think that specifically to that point, story points, I do support them keeping that close to the chest.
Absolutely.
And I think anything Thargoid counts as story points.
Okay.
Everything else they should absolutely be teasing. Saying there's new ships in store and no other words, great.
Yeah.
Even singular, new ship.
Who knows? Whatever. And don't tell us when. I don't care. Like, those are things like that you can throw out there. And of course, none of this matters if we don't trust what they say, which unfortunately I don't know how long that's going to take to earn back, because that is fucking blown. That is over. But so Thargoids, like, I think they've already spilled too much by putting that in their like control bindings and stuff, like humanoid. All these references to humanoid weapon holsters, and give me a break, guys. That was hack stuff. But anyway, whatever. It's out there. Obviously, that's happening at some point, as long as the game doesn't, as long as the money plug doesn't get pulled or something before it ever comes out. But that's happening. But ship interiors, like, these are all things that were there's video demo from before this game came out of like, oh, look, it's somebody wandering onto what looks like the deck of a Type 9. And this is all stuff that was on the roadmap. I mean, he's saying like, oh, being able to board each other's ships, all this stuff was definitely part of the vision at one point. So just quietly not talking about it anymore and then saying there's no plans for this, that's corporate boardroom bullshit. That doesn't help. That doesn't convince us that we shouldn't it doesn't convince trolls that they shouldn't throw vitriol at your community managers who are standing out there trying to receive all this flack. It doesn't convince people like us who are not going to throw shit at your community managers to not be bummed on a Thursday. Like, I'm going to go do my podcast now. I'm sincerely bummed about the only game that's good enough to hold my attention right now. Like, that sucks so bad. And, you know, I think that the point is correct that the feat had to happen. The feat was a building block that was necessary for the rest of it to happen. And obviously, it's not ready for them to also add the ship interiors and also add the this and that and all the gameplay that could possibly come along with that. And that's why it was pulled, and it isn't ready. It took too long to develop, and it needs to be fixed, and so on and so on. But then, but to tell us that it's because we don't think that's good gameplay, really, I mean, that is a hard push at we really don't want to put it in. Now, if you don't want to put it in because of the development time and you really don't think you can, you don't think you have the money, you've got to be honest about that, because if people don't have a reasonable expectation of what you're planning to put into the game that they're essentially dedicating a lot of their lives to, then they're just going to feel ripped off. It doesn't matter how many hours of entertainment I got for my X number of dollars. And obviously, like, the amount of entertainment I've got out of this game is way more than the money I've put in. I still, you know, for me, like, I still felt ripped off by what happened with Odyssey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how is that fair to FDev? How is that fair to the devs that is how I feel? That is how I've been made to feel. I couldn't possibly have felt any other way, because I keep getting, frankly, obviously lied to, and having things just have them just pretend that these other things don't exist for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not doing themselves any favors.
Yeah. Okay. So Dubs and Data become the shining lights of hope and glory in this, because they're the ones among us who are having fun in Odyssey. And
They both bought Star Citizen 2 nights ago.
Just because I
Okay.
bought Star Citizen doesn't mean I'm done with Elite. I
didn't
still
say you were done with
genuinely,
it.
yeah.
So
I bought it because I was bullied.
I need Dubs. I need Dubs and Data time. I need to know, like, I'm not saying like talk about something else. If you have a positive angle, or if you have anything, like, I want to know what your interpretation is from the perspective of somebody who's playing Odyssey and having fun, and, like, tell me how you see it differently than we do, please.
I'm having fun with Odyssey, but I don't look forward to logging in every evening as much as I used to. Like, my excitement levels are going down. I think for me it just seems there's no long-term, or at least not a communicated long-term vision for the game. Like, what else is going to be in there? Like, if this, and that was one of the things in Hawks Gaming's review when he recommended not buying the expansion just yet, was like,
I believe the idea is
this game loop is
gameplay. If the on-foot gameplay is just grinding to improve the on-foot gameplay.
Yeah, it's not even grinding to improve the on-foot gameplay. Like, you're grinding to upgrade your weapons and your suits, but to do what exactly? You grind to upgrade so that you can grind better to upgrade more. But then what is there to do? Okay, so my suits are maxed out, my weapons are maxed out. Let's go do some ground CZs. Okay, whoop-de-doo. That was fun for 5 minutes.
You could do
but
those with the base
if I want
gear.
to do, you could do that in base gear. There needs to be more for the on-foot gameplay. I mean, it's still fun. It's still good. I'm glad they did it. But I would just like to know that there is more planned other than multiple bug fixes.
That big developers update forum post where the long-term plan was, there is no plan that we can tell you about right now. That was disappointing.
Yeah, or when they included the top 5 what do you call it? The top 5 requested
issue
bug
tracker.
fixes or issue tracker. Like, look, you didn't have to tell me that in a post. I can just go fucking look myself.
I just remember my favorite part of last week's show when I was laying in a hammock talking about it, and I don't remember it's verbatim, but somebody mentioned that yes, we are looking at the top 5 things on the bug tracker and TrackScad. Goddamn fucking right, you better be looking at those. I mean, they're the top 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I laughed out loud when just laying in a hammock by myself. I laughed out loud when Track said that.
We get it. You're in a hammock.
Yeah, but like you've already said, Trax, like the
God
old
for
game's
you.
still there. It's still fun. It's still good. There's not like a specific reason for me to want to launch Odyssey, because just if they added just some of the stuff we can do in Star Citizen, that would be outstanding. Because the on-foot depth in that game is, pretty impressive.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm just not easy to make salty. I mean, I'm still gonna have fun with it either way. And when I get a little bored of it, I'll just go play a different game. We'll go slaughter some zombies in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. It's
Or
definitely a much
7
healthier
days.
outlook than mine.
Yeah, I mean, then again, maybe I wasn't as hurt as you are, because being so heavily invested in VR and then just being slapped in the face like, hey, yeah, no, go fuck yourself. We're not going to support VR, even though we told you we were going to when you paid us cash for this product. So that's probably why I'm not as butthurt, is because I don't really play it in VR, so that wasn't something that affected me. I flat
I'm a
screened it
very
anyways.
special case.
He just called you butthurt.
I mean,
Okay. Data? More points?
it's
Anything?
fun, guys. It's still a good game. I still recommend buying Odyssey, if for nothing else than to at least give them more development. More money to develop with,
give
to
them
pay
more
their
of our money?
developers.
It's called runway in
really?
the software world.
Hopefully they take that money and they invest it wisely in the development and not into the pockets of investors. That's where I think the company is probably getting sucked dry, is the investors just want their money. And they don't give a shit about development. And just go back to crowdsourcing. Look at, people are still crowdsourcing fucking, forgot the name, Star Citizen. If Frontier came out and like redid another crowdsource, guess what? My ass would be pitching in, because hey, there's no investors to please. They don't have to go on that.
Let's
That's fair
take
enough.
it right down the line. There's a Kickstarter tomorrow. APOC, are you in? Are you a backer?
Yes.
Chig?
Yes, because
No, I'm
sorry.
not
No,
fucking
go on.
retarded.
You can say more.
I was going to say yes, because that would be that would be letting the money talk about where I want this development to go to, and like, here's my money, and laser focus it on this game, not on everything else you have going on in Frontier Towers or whatever. Put it here. This is my support for this title. Use it. Break away. Create your own budget. With this Kickstarter or whatever to pour that in and let the game reflect the support that it has.
Hey, Chig?
No fucking chance. No chance. They have zero. I have zero faith in anything that they say at this point. If all of a sudden they're like, that's what Odyssey was, is me paying them to do that. I've bought a shit ton of money in ARCs. I've invested heavily in, let's not talk about flight gear. Good God. But I've spent, that money doesn't go to them. But I mean, ARCs, buying Odyssey, buying the premium in Odyssey, because even at the time, I'm like, I don't even care about alpha testing, air quotes, alpha testing, because I don't want to pay somebody to test their game. But because I love this game so much, I bought the premium early access bullshit that I didn't even care about, because I wanted to support this game.
So
yes,
by
I will support this game.
by buying the product, some of that money went to Frontier Developments as a whole and not the Elite Dangerous development crew. If the Kickstarter were to specifically break Elite Dangerous off of Frontier, fuck the rest of it. I don't give a shit about their other lame-ass games.
Well, you're
If
adding a
Elite
stipulation in there.
If Elite Dangerous were to secede from Frontier and start a Kickstarter campaign to fix the game in the way it's supposed to be,
So if we had
then yes,
Slippy,
I would absolutely.
So what you're saying is,
absolutely put into that.
Braben comes out publicly saying, this game has gone off my vision. I'm pissed. I'm branching this off of Frontier development.
Not just branching off.
entirely.
No, leaving. Fuck Frontier development.
Braben
Fuck
says,
No
I'm
branches and
taking my
trunks."
IP, moving off to the side, and we're doing our own thing.
yes.
We're going to build the engine from scratch. Wait, what?
I don't know about
I
from
No,
scratch.
build it
Yeah, I
on-
don't know
build
about
it on
that.
There's
Unity.
no way they could ever do what you're saying. It just
Yeah,
can't
they
happen.
can't.
Okay. Dubs, are you backing a Kickstarter tomorrow?
I'm backing a Kickstarter. I would try it. I would have the faith that they could do it.
Data.
And if not, I've wasted more money on worse shit. So whatever.
True that.
I'm not pre-ordering any more games. No Kickstarter.
And that's what
okay.
Kickstarting is. That's pre-order.
Yeah,
Nurgle?
I would just
On the condition that Kickstarter comes with an honest to God roadmap of where they're going to go, I would consider it. But short of that, absolutely not.
All right.
Fool
What were
me
you about to
once,
say,
shame
Aiko?
on you. Fool me twice.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Don't fool me again.
It would have to come under the the condition would have to be that the fucking penny pinching assholes up at the top of Frontier, whoever the assholes were that forced the hand of the early Odyssey release, as long as they are pushed out of the picture, if they are not a part of it, that it's completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck
Now,
with that. Okay,
APOC.
APOC, finally, our guest.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, most Kickstarters come with like more conditions on like mileposts and milestones that they have to meet along the way than what we've been getting from FDev, over the last several
Yeah,
months.
but like
So
Star Citizen was supposed to
and-
release in November of 2014, and they're still
Right.
kickstarting. So
yeah.
Well, this is a
Well, like I said,
hypothetical, though. So it doesn't matter.
This is a hypothetical, and I kind of took it from the position that Dubs, explained of where, Elite becomes its own self-funded, project, and to get us to the next point in Elite. And if that were to happen, then I think there's something about that kind of I think would refocus the management and the development team, heads and everything, that would just kind of make it a little bit scrappier and be that company that is hungry for meeting, exceeding expectations and goals, and it needs a little bit of that. And right now we have the classic example of a company having some success and resting on its laurels with a one property while they do other things. And I kind of think that's what they've done here. They
delivered
put out something. They
delivered well on the first Kickstarter.
Yeah. I think they need a little bit of that attitude again, a little bit more of that kick in the butt from, across the board.
didn't the original Kickstarter say that there would be ship interiors and stealing ships?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all on the record as being part of the vision. It doesn't mean like they owe it to me by a certain day or something, but to pretend that it's not part of the vision without saying, yeah, we scrapped that. You know what I mean? Like if that's not part of your vision, then stand up and say, like, look, here's what we're changing about our vision, and here's the real reasons why. And then like I can decide, like, do I support that or not?
Well, Trax,
don't tell me there's no good gameplay in ship interiors.
Trax, would you support a Kickstarter?
I'm really on team no pre-orders anymore because of how badly I was burned by this.
That's what a Kickstarter
That ship
is.
has sailed, yeah.
But I will say right now, like there are things that could change my mind about that. It's tough to say exactly what those would be, but the kind of things where the kind of things like true communication changes that are promised and then delivered on, I feel like would go a long way. And there's a lot that could change how I feel. Horizons is still my favorite game, like full stop. So, because there's nothing else. I mean, that's the other problem is I do find myself feeling like, from a business and market perspective, that there's no competition. Like for me personally, like they have no competitors. So like, what do they have to chase? Because the games that are seen as competitors to this game, for me, they are not competitors. at all. And so it like is meaningless. And so I that makes me feel very trapped. But, I think it's tough as a hypothetical. Yeah, there's something you could do that would make me back it. It would depend on what that scope was and what the milestones, the promises, things like that. Show me, and absolutely I would. But as it stands now, like, I don't intend to pre-order any game again for as long as I live. But I don't know, something could change my mind, I guess. So is that the?
It's your time, Braven. It's Braven's time to stand up and do it again.
I want to talk about some other stuff. We've obviously made our points very clear on this. Chig, you told me you had some Chig chat to do.
It's Chig chat. Yeah, that's a fact. It's Chig chat. Where the cheese at?
We here at Loose Screws never end a sentence with a preposition.
Yeehaw. Yeah, I decided Chig Chat this week would get back to what Chig Chat is supposed to be, just non-elite stuff. We've been very elite intensive tonight, bitching and everything. And remember when I first started doing the show, like at the end of the show, I'd throw random movie anniversaries. So I figured I'd make us feel really old tonight. I'll throw in some movie anniversaries. All these happened within like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and within the next coming week. And thought I'd throw this so we can all feel old. First, the movie AI. Did you guys see that one with that damn kid? Can't think of his name. Haley Joel
I'm not
Osment.
old,
Yes.
so no.
Yes, at Spielberg. I think it was originally supposed to be. Never mind. But it was a creepy movie. That's 20 years old. When I saw it in the theater, it was one of those movies that I was like, I walked out and I'm like, I'm not sure I like that. But then I thought about it the entire next day. So it was one of those brain creeper ones. We'll just keep moving our way back. We just celebrated the 4th of July. Independence Day was 25 years old. Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
I'm back.
Yes, it's you can make fun of the science, the mass of their ships in comparison to the moon, what it would have done, all of that. But overall, it was a great action movie. It was entertaining, and it is what it was. It was a summer blockbuster that you just turn your brain off and enjoy. Now you go only 5 years before that, Terminator 2.
Still one of the finest sci-fis of all time.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Genius movie. And that is 30 years old this week. Another one that's 30 years old, I think it was actually a few weeks ago, but I'm just throwing it in there because, God damn it, Keanu Reeves rocks. Point Break is 30 years old. Now we're going to go 40 years old. This is really going to date some of us. I'm going to go, let's go to comedy first.
We've exceeded tracks.
You're going to know all three of these movies, I'm sure. Stripes with Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
That's a fact, Jack. Great goddamn movie. That's 40 years old. Now, I'll go the least popular of the next two, but everybody knows Escape from New York. Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. That's 40 years old. Now, another one in this week, 40 years ago, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 40 years old.
Wow.
Which I absolutely used to love that movie, and I don't remember what it was. Big Bang Theory pointed out how that movie was utterly pointless because his character in trying to stop them from getting the Ark was completely pointless. Everything he did in the whole movie to stop them, he ended up not stopping them. And at the end of the movie, they opened it and they all died. So even if he didn't exist, the same outcome would have happened. So I have a hard time with that movie since hearing that theory, but still, great ride the first, half dozen times you see it. So that's all I'm doing. Just, it was, remind you all of how old you are. So that's all. Anybody know any old movies or want to talk about any of those movies? Go ahead.
Stripes is fantastic.
Amen. Fuck yeah.
Calm down, Francis.
Calm down, Francis. Oh my God, with was it mud wrestling and John
Yes.
Candy, the late great John Candy, jumping right in there, just beating the crap out of some bikini-clad women. It was what the hell?
John Candy, the lean, mean wrestling machine.
Amen. So
Wonderful.
We rewatched Alien this weekend. We always watch some classic sci-fi on 4th of July weekend for some reason, and usually it's either Alien or Terminator 2. And oh man, it's so good. 1979, but still
Ridley,
so good.
Ridley Scott, yep, genius.
And I think it was the first time I'd seen the director cut. Watched that and Aliens, the director cut, and oh man, great stuff.
Right, the where he finds I can't remember the captain's name. Oh shoot. Where she finds him near the end, right? And he's like being transformed into an egg or something. It was really before they'd kind of flushed out the whole xenomorph life cycle. They were really playing fast and loose with it, but he kill me, the director's cut's great. There's some juicy stuff in there that's good. And I think the same thing for Terminator 2, but anyway.
Yeah. In Aliens, it gives such a good preamble to the whole story as far as the director's cut, like showing the actual occupants of the settlement finding the ship, and setting it up, and it's like, why did they ever cut this? Because it was whatever year it was, and you didn't make 2.5-hour action movies
so
then. But today that's nothing.
Right, really great stuff.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah, I turned 40 in 6 months, so yeah, I'm starting to really realize that movie was great. Oh wait, that movie was 30 years. Oh yeah, the time frames are starting to kind of blow my mind a little bit now.
Yeah, not all of us are as old as Nurgle, but man, we're feeling it.
Yeah. Some of us saw every one of those movies in the theater when they were first released.
Damn near. Oh my God. Truth.
Actually, Alien was my parents' first date was Alien.
Oh wow.
God.
So.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
I think I took a date to see that movie. Oh, God.
I think I dated something in that movie.
Oh, I definitely have dated something in that movie, yes.
Sigourney Weaver?
I wish. Jesus.
Yeah.
Especially back then. Good God.
Ooh, yeah.
And her little cotton panties. Good God, man. What are you doing to me?
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Place.
So I've got some stuff in community comms today. It has been posed that the Loose Screws should have a CQC event this coming Tuesday, the 13th of July at 8 p.m. Central Time. And I'm pretty sure we stipulated this is going to be in Horizons, right?
It will be in Horizons.
Everybody has Horizons.
So. No, wait. And just for the record, this wasn't my idea. This was
no. I think it was Hate's idea.
Yeah,
he had to run because his cat burst into flame or something like that.
Something along those lines. I'm not sure what he said.
He uses that excuse a lot. I got to be honest. I'm starting to think maybe it's code for something else.
I think his wife just lights cats on fire as a hobby.
Ooh.
Could be.
She's pregnant.
Anyway.
Hormones. Come on.
Yeah. So planning that for this coming Tuesday after the podcast comes out, the 13th of July. So be there if you can in Horizons CQC, and we'll see if we can get some games going. I will.
Yeah, just show up in the Discord.
100% committed, but yeah.
Just show up in the Discord or just start queuing, and you'll probably bump into us that evening.
Yeah, we'll probably make some new channels for it because we have those limited teams of 4 channels. We'll make something new so everybody can be together. Okay. Other than that, I pulled up this thing from the AXI. It is Academy Week from the 10th to 18th of July. There's a link in the show notes to the forum post. For the duration of this event, our mentors will be accepting trainees for personal guidance giving you tips and tricks on how to overcome your next challenge. Sign up via the following form and you'll be assigned to one of the 4 trainee teams, each guided by a pair of mentors, and compete against other 3 teams to see who can advance their skills the furthest. And trainees will receive full access to a private channel in Discord, I think. I'm having to scroll. So they can communicate with the mentors. And you can sign up at any point, even if the event's already started. So if you haven't done any Thargoid combat before, now's a great time. If you have done Thargoid combat before, now's a great time. Go hang out with AXI. It sounds like fun.
That sounds awesome.
Cool. That's all I have for the show. Does anybody have any other business or dirty laundry they want to air?
Can I tack on one thing to the community part?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to be taking part in one of the expeditions that's beginning this Saturday. It's the Apollo 15 Anniversary Expedition. And this is put on by Commander Yannick, not to be confused with Yamix, the streamer or the YouTuber.
The Latvian.
Yeah. This is a guy that put on the a big Apollo 11 50th anniversary expedition a couple of years ago, which I think is the 3rd highest attended expedition right after the Two Distant Worlds expeditions. So the Apollo 15 anniversary is coming up, and this has kind of become like the last hurrah for Horizons, since when this expedition finishes up in August, where it will be close to or closer to the console release, presumably. And at that point, Horizons gets rolled into all the new Odyssey tech, and so a lot of people are using this as a chance to get out and really see the galaxy, for one last time, the way it exists now in Horizons, before all that goes away. And as of now, there's currently 467 participants signed up for that expedition. I expect it to probably hit 500 by Saturday when they start to jump out. It's not a super long expedition like some of the others. It's all total round trip about 20,000 light years. So head over to EDSM to get all the details there if you're interested.
Yeah, we'll get a link. I'll add a link before we publish the show notes. Correct me if I'm wrong, is this the one where they found an Earth-like with a moon that is strikingly similar that they can actually land on? Or was that the Apollo 11 anniversary expedition?
That may have been that one, yeah.
Okay. Do you know what's noteworthy about the itinerary for this, if you have anything on the top of your head?
It's just just your typical expedition to go out there and like I said, kind of enjoy the sights of Horizons one last time. There will be basically Apollo 15 was considered sort of the last of the where the public imagination was really captured by the Apollo space program. Where we'd done it 4 times, and after that, it was the first time they used the lunar rover and everything. And then after that, public interest began to wane, and it really led to sort of a down period in NASA. So there's some poetic intent, I think. Either intentionally or unintentionally, where it just matches up kind of with things that are going on in the community. But from looking, I didn't participate in the Apollo 11 one, but looking back on how that was done, there's a lot of like history and just discussing, things like that, and kind of informative, fun, really cool Discord they got going on. A lot of great people over there, and it's one of the things that, and the discussions we've had earlier. I don't want people to get the impression that I'm not having a good time. I have, in the last 24 hours, done over $1 billion in trade in this game. I'm having plenty of fun in this game. I just, I'm also very vocal about my criticisms. But like I said earlier, it's the community stuff that really makes, this game, special, and get involved with those. So Maybe if you're kind of down in the dumps and want to join up with something and haven't done expeditions before, it'd be a great one to hop on.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, thanks for throwing that in there. Okay. Good show. Well, I mean, I think. Anyway, it seems like that sure was a podcast. If you like the show, please rate and review on your podcast app. It helps people find the show, and you can join us on Discord at discord.io/loosescrews and check out the merch store we have at loosescrewsed.com for all kinds of stuff like mugs and t-shirts and hoodies and random stuff like stainless steel tumblers, stuff like that. And hey, if there's something you want us to write Loose Screws on and then send to you, let us know, because we can probably make that happen. Anyway, there was a flurry of activity in the merch store a little while ago, and then it all died off again. So let me remind you, you can wear the Loose Screws logo in public anytime you want. All you got to do is go over to loosescrewsed.com and order one of those t-shirts or hoodies, and that'll be loads of fun. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm going to say thanks to Hate, who had to step away. APOC5, sir, thanks for coming on. Great addition to the show. Thanks for your thoughts. Thanks
for having me.
Chig. Yeah. Thanks, Chig. Thanks, Dubs. Thanks, Data. Thanks, Nurgle.
Make sure you thank Craig, who just hung on for an entire episode without G-Hark.
Yeah. Well,
Craig, the glorious recording robot.
When Trek said that, well, it was a podcast, I'd say the chance is not entirely zero that it wasn't. Craig was the only one here, and G-Hark wasn't, so we'll see if we've got a podcast.
It was entirely possible that there was no podcast.
Oh, God. We just hung out and talked for 2 hours.
Wow.
Hit record, do it again. Everyone remember what they said? Good.
Take it from the top.
No, not going to happen. Do you want a cheese?
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely. Cheese me.
It's really not a real cheese, but we'll go with it. I've done like 50 or 60 episodes of this now. It's hard to keep coming up with cheeses. It gets obscure at this point. So I was watching Foods That Made America. Have you guys seen that on the History Channel? It's a goddamn awesome show.
Yes.
But there's the battle of like potato chips in the Northeast, and then Fritos started like in the Southwest area, and they were battling, and then like World War II hit, and like food rationing and everything started. And like the guy who invented Fritos was smart enough to get a hold of the army and tell them, hey, I've got a great product. It doesn't spoil, has more calories than meat per ounce, blah, blah, blah. And the army started using Fritos. So then after the war, as militaries are wont to do, they had a huge surplus of random shit. So after the Frito guy had reached out to him, they reached out to him after the war, and it's like, we've got a shit ton of this dehydrated powdered cheese stuff. Do you want it? And he's like, sure. Didn't know what he was going to do with it. But at the time, there were these corn puff things that people didn't like to eat. They weren't very good. They were feeding them to cows and stuff. And he put this powdered cheese on them, and they became Cheetos. So the cheese of the week is fucking Cheetos. Stay cheesy, everybody. You don't like it? Fuck you.
Wow. Okay. Plus,
yeah, that's a wow.
You know, side note, the war ends, and they've also got a literal army of people trained to eat Cheetos or Fritos.
Pretty much. It's crazy, isn't it?
That's not bad. All right.
History.
All right, thanks. Yeah, history. We'll see you next time, and I hope that Elite isn't history.
Shit.
Bye-bye.
Yikes.
It'll be fine.
But this episode is...
Stay screwy.
You didn't put a flushing sound.
Hit the button. Hit the red button.
All right. Okay.